All right, everybody, welcome to the Viva Connections SharePoint Framework bi-weekly sync. This lovely day of July 25th, 2024. I'm your host, Chris Kent, and I'll be joined today with David Warner and a bunch of other folks from the Microsoft 365 developer and Power Platform community. We're going to tell you about all sorts of open source initiatives, the status of all the things you can take advantage of, and then we've got some awesome demos. So we've got Cristian here. He's going to be doing some really cool stuff with Viva Connections, and then we've got Hugo that's doing some stuff with AI. We'll see. It'll be exciting though, I bet. Wow. All right, so let's take a look at some of the resources that you've got available to you, and we'll start off here with this big master slide here, where you can see we've got a nice YouTube channel. We'll talk more about that in a second. There's a LinkedIn group for you professional types who want to get in there and talk about that stuff. We also have a Discord type for you professional types that like to pretend you're not a professional type. And we've got a ton of open source repositories covering all sorts of things, all the way from the new Copilot prompts, right, all the way up to list formatting and then everything SharePoint Framework related, and other Power Platform type things. And there's a ton of sample galleries as well. So if you want to see how to take advantage of stuff, real world code that people are really using, they put out there, you can take a look at those. That's a great place to get started. And then finally, all of these things, I know there's a ton of links on the screen, but the only link you really need is that last one, that aka.ms/community/home. That'll take you to our new rebranded site with all the links to everything. Okay, speaking of rebranding, if you've gone over to the YouTube channel lately, you may have noticed that the community learning channel has gotten a bit of a refresh. All of this, there's a little bit of rebranding, a little bit of reorganization. The idea is just to make this a little more accessible, a little less confusing to everybody. Let us know what you think and what you're using over there. I guess you're supposed to say like and subscribe, I guess. There you go. I did it. I'm a YouTuber. All right. And then finally, so these calls here. So make sure you join these calls. You're already on one, or you're watching a recording of one and wish you had been on one live. So these are the links for that. Again, go to that link there, that aka.ms/community/home. But if you want to replace home with calls, you can go directly to this spot where you can find ICS, files or whatever you want to call it, to synchronize your calendar, so you can find out how to join here every time, each time. It's very, very exciting. Wowee. All right. And then if you want to be one of the presenters, you can do that too. So come on over here and fill this out. We would love to have you. We'd be happy to coach you through it. We're looking for people that are doing getting started, people that are doing advanced stuff, anything in between. It can be stuff that's open source. It can be stuff that's closed source. We just ask that it's not a marketing demo. But otherwise, come show what you're doing. It's awesome. All right. And then, yeah, David, you want to talk about this thing?
Yeah, why not, Chris? Because we're just talking about stuff today. So, yeah, so everybody, Sharing is Caring is a program providing hands-on guidance. And what does that mean? It means that we are going to have an awesome time in a live Teams call together, learning about stuff, whether it's your type or not your type. We're going to learn together, right? And so what we've got is a session scheduled for August 19th with Hugo and I, samples contributor. So if you want to get involved in some of those samples you're going to see and hear all about today, if that's your type, then we want you to join. And we're going to walk you through how to make a pull request. And even if you don't know what a pull request is, it means that you're submitting stuff to the community, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a contribution, and it's going to count for a badge. So get signed up August 19th, 9:30. Wow, we're moving on. Okay, yeah, now we're going to move on to our recognition program. No, go ahead. Yeah, it's a safe space, everybody. We don't record those calls, and we've got one scheduled coming up on the 19th of August. So definitely get involved. We'd love to have you. Now, we do also want to recognize you for the amazing work that you're doing, which is via our community recognition program. We've got some fun new badges that are coming out this summer, the summer of samples with Hugo. We're looking at some prompt timber or prompt-tober badges for those prompts, and within Copilot and Power Platform Copilot and all those good things. And of course, we'll have our season of Getting coming back and all those wonderful end of the year. It's our way of giving back to you. Again, it is free. We cover the cost with Credly. They are official and accredited badges, and you can opt in at any time. aka.ms/community/recognition. Chris, back to you.
Thanks, David. I thought I'd take the emotion, and the level down just a little bit for everybody.
In this very special edition of Chris Kent is hosting the community call.
Just kidding. All right, let's go back to these open source projects. All right, so we've got some updates here. First off, I want to talk about this new Copilot prompts. So please check this out. This is a brand new set of samples for you. We can update some of these Copilot prompts, right? So if you go to that PNP-prompt library down there, you can check it out. Submit some new prompts there. Now is the time before everyone gets all the real easy ones in there. Get some in there. Give me a contributor. Yeah. But also, if you've come up with something really awesome, not only could it be here, you may be featured here, like our prompt of the week here. So this is our prompt of the week. Ironically, it is about understanding Copilot. So it's using Copilot to explain Copilot to you. So that's pretty cool. Tell you all with the licensing and everything else. So be sure to check that out. And again, if you've got something cool you've got it to do or whatever else, share that. You'd be surprised how not obvious that is to some people. All right. Or all people. There we go. Hey, let's talk about these learning pathways. Julie.
You confused me and moved me to second.
You're welcome.
Anytime. Okay. Way too much energy for me. Microsoft 365 Learning Pathways fans, there is a new version 5 beta in beta. This is a update that's been long in the coming. We did a technical update, so SharePoint Framework was updated and PnP.js was updated to the latest versions. We did a massive UI update, so we got rid of using the Office Fabric React and moved to H2O, so that's now fully accessible, and all of the content is moved to that new platform. We did add a couple of enhancements as well. There is a new feature in the web part to keep the search box visible all the time. There's also the ability for when you have a long content in an asset that the header stays sticky at the top. So that's a nice new thing. And the big add is a new custom analytics webhook setup that you can make so that every time someone views an asset, if you have that webhook set up, it will send a post request to your anonymous HTTP endpoint so that you can track viewership of your assets in learning pathways. And there was a few bug fixes as well. Anyway, if you want to check out version 5, it's now in beta. You can download it, check it out, put it in a site collection app catalog in your primary tenant if you want to just test it before going full-blown release in your full tenant, or test it in a dev tenant if you have one. So all of those ways, and then give us feedback if you find anything, and we will get that fixed. All right, next slide. PnP.js update was on July 15th, 4.3.0. There was a couple of updates. We do the package updates and the documentation updates every single time. But in addition to that, we had a community member submit some improved functionality for the alias parameters. So in SharePoint, so if you use alias parameters in the SharePoint REST calls, that has been updated a little bit to do some more functionality and improve functionality. And we had another community member add a new advanced query behavior for the graph that allows you to set all the headers that need to be set to get counts and things like that. So if you are interested in either of those, go check out the latest version. As always, version 3 support is winding down. We will do a 3.26 update to add that alias parameter stuff to we will do a release on August 12th to add that alias parameter update that we put in version 4 to version 3. Some people consider the fix a bug fix, so we just relented and we'll do a version 3 update for that, but that is winding down. As always, you can check out the V4 nightly builds for any PRs that are merged before we do an official release. And that is all I have. Take it away, Chris.
Sorry, I forgot I was controlling the slides. I was trying to highlight that command down there. For anyone that's wondering,
yeah,
that says npm install @pnp/sp at v4 nightly dash.
Yeah,
okay.
That's my fault. I didn't delete a space, and everything is on top of each other.
No, it's like a choose your own adventure. It's exciting.
I like it. I like it.
All right, but good news, Gary. You around, Gary? Yeah, perfect. Woo.
Thank you, Chris. Yes, so we have CLI for Microsoft 365. V8 beta has been released. So this is going to be the new version of CLI for Microsoft 365. So we've got some breaking changes in here as well, so you can try it early just to understand what those are. We have some new commands as well. So we've got commands for Microsoft Entra, SharePoint Online, Teams, and Engage. We've also got a few bug fixes in the V8. So we have a fix for listing flows, and we know this is a very popular command. So the APIs that we used have been changed. There's been a deprecation, and we've now moved to the new API. So that is back working again, but the output has changed. So please check out the release notes to understand what those changes are. And we've also been able to fix CLI running in the Azure Cloud Shell as well. So you can take CLI around with you everywhere because it'll be in the browser when you go to Azure Portal. So if that interests you, go along to npm and install the beta using the next tag. You can also use our Docker container as well, again, using the next tag there. Like I said, encourage you to go and look at the release notes, aka.ms/CLI-M365/notes. You get all the details in there, and you'll get the links to our upgrade guidance as well. Next slide, Chris. So we don't have a new release for Dev Proxy this month. So just a reminder that our current version is 0.19.1. So if you don't know about Dev Proxy is a command line tool that enables you to simulate API errors and behaviors, mock responses, and also stand up APIs as well. So you don't have to go and actually build the full thing. You can just declaratively declare your API and just run it, which is really great for getting up and running. But if you're interested in things like checking minimal permissions on apps, you're doing some AI development, maybe you're wanting to simulate some AI responses using a local LLM rather than going to the cloud every time, we've got a lot of functionality in Dev Proxy that may interest you. So if it does, go along to aka.ms/devproxy, check out our Get Started. It'll take you 2 minutes to go through that just to understand how it works. And yeah, we'd love to hear feedback from you. Chris, back to you.
All right. Hey, Gary, all right, Alex, you want to give us an update on the reusable SPF controls?
Sure. So for the reusable SPFx controls, first of all, if somebody doesn't know what it is, these are controls that you can use in your SPFx web parts development, and property controls you can even use with your adaptive cards as well, adaptive card extensions. So currently we are on 3.18.1 for React controls and 3.17.1 for property controls. For the property controls, there was a release relatively recently with the fixes for SPFx 1.19. For the React controls, there seems to be similar issue with the Webpack 5 and SPFx 1.19, but only if you use PNPM package. So still something that we need to investigate and fix. So I will keep you posted on that. And as usual, thank you for all the contributors, the work that you're doing for us. Thank you very much. And if you need more information, please visit our links for the details and documentation. Thank you. Back to you, Chris.
Awesome. All right, and David, you've got an update on the SPFx toolkit?
Yes. Filling in for Adam today, who is out. He just wanted to mention that there is a minor release. So we've got a couple of contributions from Sarab improving create new project walkthrough step. We've also got Lucas, who adds huge improvements to the sample view, and there was a fix up on the README. So if you're looking to contribute, there's still some good first issues left. There's 5, it says, so get them before they're gone. Be part of that. Adam and I are also working on a badge specifically for the SPFx toolkit. So all those that love those badges, get excited. One's coming soon. Chris, back to you.
Wow. All right, and then of course let's talk about PnP modern search. All right, and I think it's going to be me talking about it today. Wow. So if you haven't checked this out, be sure to check it out, especially if you're Italian, because now it's in Italian as well, right? Wow. So this is the way to get custom search experiences in your tenant and everywhere else, and it's awesome. And if you haven't checked it out, please be sure to. There you go. That's all I have to add to that, because it's awesome. There you go. Woo. And Hugo, you want to talk about these samples here?
Absolutely. So we have repositories for extensions and web part samples that you are always welcome to contribute to. I just processed some pull requests last week, and I'm focusing right now on trying to fix the sample browser. You can still get the samples through adoption.microsoft.com. Go under fancy solutions, and then you can get all the samples there. But the individual sample browser for web parts is broken. It's probably something that Bo did, but I will fix it. There you go. Thanks to everyone who has contributed their pull requests. I will make sure to mention them on our upcoming update. But that's it for me. Back to you, sir.
Thank you, Hugo. No thanks, Bo. All right, David.
Yeah, this is why we can't have nice things. I tell you, man. Yeah, same boat with samples. Our aces, they are there, ready, available for you. We'd love to see some more samples there. Anoop and Derek are doing an awesome job maintaining that, but they are both out today. So just, yeah, heads up. We would love to see some new samples. That's it, Chris.
All right, well, I'm going to give it back to you for Together
That's
Mode.
Right. You are, yeah, it is that time. So let's get those fantastic faces available. Turn on those cameras. And we are going to see if Together Mode works today. So let's hope that it is. And let's start sharing the screen. There we go. Yep, everybody's looking up, looking good. Let's see, we got some more spaces here. If you'd like to turn on your camera, there is plenty of room in the ever-expanding virtual room. All right. Come on, I know a few more there. Let's. All right, there we go. The interwebs are just a little slow today. All right, come on. Do we see Bo? We want to see Bo. We love Bo. There's Hugo. All right, yeah.
Nobody wants to sit next to you, David. I don't know if you know.
I guess so. Yeah. It's like okay. All right. Let's start kicking this puppy off. All right. 3, 2, 1. Wave, everybody. Woo! Yeah. We really appreciate you all showing up. Love the jazz hands, looking good. Great to see everybody. I think that's Elliot doing the crazy eye thing, looking fantastic. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay. All right, Chris, back to you.
So let's head over to our awesome demos today. So first up, we've got Cristian. He's going to do the Viva Connections Advanced Card Designer. So Cristian, whenever you're ready, you can feel free to go ahead and take over and give it a go.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. So if you hear me okay, and
sure
I will, yeah, I will share my screen. Yeah.
Yep. So your desktop
there,
is perfect.
There we
go. Great.
Okay. So I don't know if I will keep that explosive, emotional voice that you have, Chris, but I will try. So my name is Cristian. It's my first time presenting something on the community here, and well, right now I'm working for Insud Pharma in Spain as a digital workplace transformation lead. So as you can see in my first slide, I will talk about some good stuff in Viva Connections. But first of all, I will make a quick recap of what Viva Connections give us. The first of all is the quite simple things like corporate branding, something like organization name. We can customize that. We have some logo customizations, colors, and a top carousel with some news that you want to promote or whatsoever, some information for the employees. We can highlight content on that carousel or even on the dashboard. So we have great information that we need to highlight for the employees. We can stick that to the front of to the top of the Viva Connections page. We have the feed where we can discover news and conversations from users on our company, on on our organization. We can target almost all of the contents there. And the main thing here that I will talk about today is the dashboard. We can customize and manage the dashboard as we want, with a lot of content and resources useful for the users. All of this is built on Microsoft 365. The content is provided by a lot of services on Microsoft 365, and we can view all of this in SharePoint, Teams, desktop, and mobile. And we have a unified experience on desktop and mobile devices. So I will make even longer recap with all the experiences that have Viva Connections seen all of the time. The old experiences, maybe you know it was a bit rough, not so much customization. The second version experience, it was a little bit nicer, and the third experience version, it's what we have today. It's a lot nicer. It has a lot of Fluent UI design on it, and yeah. So I will be talking about the dashboard and what we can do with that dashboard. I have a small list here with some ideas of what you can put in that dashboard. Some news carousels, quick access to resources like links or tasks in Planner or whatsoever. We can even integrate third-party services with custom APIs and custom content from outside of the company. We can create some great cards, as I will show you later, like an internal small market where people in the company can buy or sell things. You can show some carousels with job offers internal on the company. You can show events, a lot of things from from user calendars. You can make some nice things with badges for employees, like gamifications or whatsoever. You can integrate a lot of things from different services that you have in your company, like ticketing from support, from HR systems, or employee benefits that you want to show to your employees, and a lot of things more. So I don't want to waste much more time with the presentation, but I really want to say that we have three capabilities three methods to implement a lot of things in the dashboard. We have the no-code part with out-of-the-box cards, and a lot of them are nice, but all of the data there is static information, and you have to contribute the content by hand. If you have some change, you need to make every change by hand. The second way that we can manage the customization of the dashboard is by using the advanced card designer, and it's what I will show you today. It's a nice feature that we can use with dynamic cards and dynamic contents that we can query from Graph API and SharePoint API, and the most extended way to create custom cards for the dashboard is obviously SharePoint Framework adaptive card extensions. You can make whatever you want with them. You can integrate custom services and whatsoever. So as I said, I don't want to waste much more time with the presentation. So where are the cards? Let's try to share some code here. For the demo today, I have an intranet site. I have enabled already the Viva Connection experience here in the site. And I have a secondary site that I called it Market. Here I have a list, small list with some fields on it and some items. Okay, so what I will try to do is with the custom designer, the advanced designer of the dashboard, Viva Connection dashboard, I will try to create a new card, and with that card, I will try to show some details from the items that the user can create. The purpose of this card is to show to let people to announce their selling items, or if they want to buy something from other people in the company, they can use this quick access to that information. So what we have to do here is go to the dashboard experience. So I will. Oh, by the way, I have the Viva Connections installed on Teams, the app. So I will show later the experience that you have over here of the how you can see the card and the same design that you have in SharePoint. So I will edit this dashboard. I will go to the dashboard page, and I will edit that dashboard. I will change to the desktop version, and I will try to add a new card. Here you can see all the cards that we have available, and this is the one that I will use. It's the special one for the card designer. As you can see, you will get a new card, a blank one, with a lot of things that we have here on the edit button. The previous version of the card designer, it was a bit ugly, but it got a lot of new things, like this real-time preview of whatever you change here. You will see it online. So I will design a large card with some icons here. I will show some icon that can identify with my idea. I will put something here like buy and sell. I will add some heading. In fact, I have it here, so I can copy paste it. It's much easier. So I will add some heading, and I will add some descriptions to this card so people can know what they can get using it. So we have different things here, like what is going to do with the card when we will click on it. It's the part where we have the actions. We have two buttons here that we can use. If we don't want to use both, we can hide them, but I will use both of them, so I will let them enable. So what I will do with the click of the card, the main card, I will show the quick view. It's the detailed view that I will show you later. The main button here, the primary button, it will be something like see items. It will make the exact same thing as you would click on the main card. I will click on show the quick view as well. And the secondary button, I will let it like this, but I will change it later so we can see more details. So I have the card here. It's not doing anything, but I can see all my changes here. What we need to do now is change the detailed view. As you can see, if we don't use this action, like show the quick view in any of our actions, you won't get this button here. So keep that in mind. So what we have here in the next step of the design. We have a template, an adaptive card template. As you can see, we have here on the bottom the data source for that adaptive card. We have an option that says static content. It's the one that comes by default, enabled by default. This option, you won't see it if you don't enable it at tenant level. You have to run a PowerShell command. It's really easy to do that. Even Vesa has a video on the main Microsoft YouTube channel where you can see how to run that PowerShell command. And when you will do that, you will have this option enabled too. So as we saw in the presentation, I will use that dynamic content sources. In this dynamic content sources, we have two options. The main one is SharePoint API, and the second one is Microsoft Graph API. I will use Microsoft Graph API because a lot of reasons that I will show you. If you use the SharePoint API dynamic content, you will have a lot of problems here because as you can see here on the bottom of this text box, it already puts the actual site on the URL. So as I said at first, the market place that I have, it's located in other sites, so I can't query anything from the other site with this method. So basically, I will use the Microsoft Graph API because of that. So keep that in mind. If you have data in other sites that are not the main site that Viva Connections has enabled, you won't. You can't use that option. Okay, so I have here enabled. I'm logged into the Graph Explorer site where we can query whatever we want on our graph on our tenant. I'm logged in with my user. And as I said, I have here on the market side, I have a list. It's a simple list. It's called announcements. And well, it's in Spanish. It's anuncios. But you get the view. So on the list settings, it's really simple. It's a list that I have some fields, and the great option here that we have on advanced settings of lists is that users can read all the items, but they only can create and edit their own items. That's why I've been setting that because I don't want others to delete people items here in the list. So I will paste the graph query into the Graph Explorer, and I will show you that we will get the items from that list with graph here. Okay, so what I'm doing here is querying the site by the ID of it. The site that we're using is market. The ID of that site is this one, and I'm using the list from that site, and the ID of that list is this one, and I want to get the nope. No, that not. I want to get the items, and I have to expand the fields. So I only want these fields, this one here, because I will use them in the adaptive card to show the data. And I want to select the created by to see who created that info and the date and time. So if I run the query, I get all the results from the list. We have 3 items here, and I get them with my query. Okay, so what I have to do here is copy that query because it's working great. I go back here to my adaptive card designer. I will paste that URL here, and you can see that it's a valid API endpoint with the data whatsoever. We have all the same data that we saw on the Graph Explorer. But we have a problem. We didn't change anything in the adaptive card template, so we can use that data. How we can do that? We can open here the Visual Studio Code. I have already created a template, a simple template to show you. I don't want to waste much more time with this. It's an adaptive card template. You can get a lot of them on the PMP GitHub sample repository. Mine is really simple. I have copy paste the data here that I got with that API query. I've put it in another file, data JSON file, so I can use these magical extensions that we have here. That it's one of that is called adaptive cards, and the other one is this official one that we can use. Both of them you can find them here. One of them is Adaptive Card Reviewer. It's an official Microsoft Visual Studio extension, and the other one is Adaptive Card Studio, made by this guy here. So if you want to see when you are designing your car, if you want to see how it's going, the design, you can use this panel here. As you see in here, you have a nice button that opens this detail panel, and you can play with it, as you can see here. So what we have to do here, it's really easy. When we have design, when we have all the design here, and we see that it's all okay, we copy paste that in the designer here. We delete that, we copy paste that, and voila, we have the design with our data that is querying from Graph API. Okay, so I will save the card. Yeah, it's all saved. You see here, all saved. I will republish the dashboard, and I will go back to home. So if you can see here, we have the card that we just created. If I click on the card, you will see here the details with the 3 items that we have here. And if you click on the first button, you will get the exact same thing. And the other button that I wanted to edit, I will use it to give the opportunity to the users to create new items. So let's get back to the dashboard and edit that button really quick. Okay, I will edit that button. It's the second button. What I want to do here is to open a link, and the link will be the link from, for example, the new item form that we have on the list. Okay, I will copy the link here. By the way, this is the new lists experience. So if you see something strange, don't worry. You will have it in your tenants. Okay, so I will paste that link here, and I will change the name. Let's put something like sell something, for example, so people can know that we're letting them to add some new items. Okay, so if I go back to home, I have edited that button. So if I click on sell something, it will open the form to create a new item. Okay, I will go back. And what I want to show you, something really useful, is that in those adaptive cards, you can create whatever you want. You have a lot of possibilities to do. And one of great stuff that I have added here is this nice button that if you click on it, it will open the Teams client, and it will open the user For example, I got the data here. I can show you the button. It's right here. I made a deep link with the button in the design that opens the user chat that is selling that item, and you can. Oh, okay. Only 2 minutes left. So you can chat with people with the people that are selling those items. What more? We have something here that I want to show you. By the way, we in the designer you have audiences, and you can create. For example, imagine that your organization has different branches in different countries. You can create different cards with different audiences, and people will only see what they need to see. Okay, so I will go back here to the presentation really quick. Okay. For the mobile experience, we have the same experience as the desktop one. You will see the cards in the same way that you saw them on the PC. And as I said, you have endless possibilities to create your own cards and connect them to the Graph API or SharePoint API. And keep in mind that the dashboard here is using the same Azure register application that SharePoint Framework uses. So if you need more permissions because, for example, you want to query the user calendars or the whatever you want, you need to grant those permissions in here. As you can see, I've used the to query SharePoint sites, so I have this permission here, and that's why my demo is working. If I delete this, you will get some errors here when you query the data. So I think it's all from me. Thank you.
Awesome, great job. Very, very cool stuff. And we're going to go ahead and just jump straight over to Hugo, though. So Hugo, if you want to go ahead and just take over, and if you got any questions for Christian, just go ahead and pop them in the chat, and you can take a look at them there. Okay, go for it, Hugo.
Awesome. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Thank you. All right. So my name is Hugo Bernier. I can be reached at Twitter or X at BernierH. And today I will be talking about using Azure OpenAI Assistance API with SPFx. And you might say, wait a minute, I'm pretty sure we've seen this demo or a demo that sounded like it before. And you are right. This sample that I'm going to be talking about is based on a previous sample that was built by Chris and Luis Mañez. It was called Calling Azure OpenAI API in Streaming Mode. The one thing, though, about their demo versus my demo is they were using completions API, which is so first half of 2024, it's not even funny, right? So my demo is actually using the Assistance API, but if you remember Chris's fantastic demo, he was actually using, Mockingbirds, which was hilarious. So if you haven't seen that demo, I recommend you go take a look because a lot of the code that he used is actually replicated in my demo. Now, the other reason why I'm excited about this demo is that my machine crashed this morning before as I was getting ready for this call. So I don't know if my demo is going to work, but we'll find out soon enough. And, the good thing about being the editor of this video, I cut the videos for YouTube. If it's broken, I will fix it by the time it makes it to YouTube, so no one will know. All right, let's look at the demo. So this web part looks very similar as before. Now I've given it its own little personality, but let's see here if I can use the demo that Chris had made, which is generate 10 short sentences about birds being mean little creatures. And let's see if it works. Woo! All right, we're getting something. Now you'll notice my assistant has a little attitude, and that's just, again, I wanted to show the concept of using assistants. I've given it a personality that is really sarcastic, and it likes to just be snarky. Let's just use another example. Can you name all the planets in the solar system? All right, so we're getting some some results. I'm actually having a good chuckle as I'm testing this, of course. And then wait a minute. Aren't you missing one? So one of the things that I'm doing here is I'm making allusion to a previous chat and a previous sentence that I sent, and it's got that context. And this is actually one of the things that is really cool in assistance. Now you can do the same thing with chat completion or completions, but assistance makes this concept of using the previous context and building on that previous context a lot easier. And to demonstrate that a little bit more, let's go back. And I'm going to need audience participation. Now, unfortunately, I know that not everyone is able to unmute. So Bo, Chris, and David, if you can unmute, that would be fantastic. You're going to be my test subjects today. And let me know when you're on.
Unmuted.
Awesome.
I was not prepared for this.
Yeah, I know. Okay,
Made a
Bo,
mistake.
Chris, and Dave, we're going to go in alphabetical order by your first name. So, Bo, that means you're after I start this, you'll be talking, and then Chris, and then Dave. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a context, and I'm going to start a sentence. I'm just going to give you the first word of the sentence. And then, Bo, you have to complete the sentence, but you can, continue the sentence, but you can only say one word. And Chris, you have to continue the sentence that Bo has contributed to, but you can only say one word, and it has to make sense. And then, Dave, you continue, continue until the sentence is completed. All right, so the context is you're greeting someone for the first time in the morning. And the first word is hello. Bo?
Beautiful.
Lady.
That went a complete different direction than I expected, but that's great. Dave, do you have anything?
What was Chris's word? I could not hear him.
Lady.
Hello, beautiful lady. All right, let's try another sample or another example here where you are a weather specialist, and I just ask you what the weather is. So again, I'll start the first word. I'll say today, Bo.
The
Monster.
Yes. Nope, you can't. You're cheating. It has to apply to weather.
Oh, sorry. The lightning.
strikes.
Okay. There you go. We'll stop there because I have a feeling it's going to get out of hand. All right, but what we just did is actually an example of what large language models do and GPT assistants, right? So here, what I did is I went to a playground. This is the ChatGPT playground, but I said, hey, it's the morning, and you're greeting the user. Please complete the sentence. And I wrote hello, and look at what it's doing. It's actually said, hello, good morning, how are you? But you'll notice there's different colors on each word. And that's because as it's writing the sentence, it actually doesn't know what it's saying. It's really a fancy autocomplete. that has been trained on lots of language, lots of materials, internet, documents, and things like that. And then it looks at statistical analysis, if I could say that word, to figure out what is the most probable next word based on the context that's been given so far. So for example, here it says that good is probably 84%, 85%, but it could have also have said how or it. Now, as it continues, good morning, 99.41%, because again, I told it that it is the morning. And then how, 72%, and then it continues going all the way to the end where it ends with a question mark. Now, it could have actually also have said, how are you today? How are you doing? How are you feeling? Right, and that's one of the reasons why as you're using an assistant like this, it will give you different results, even if you ask it the same question, because it's always looking at contextual information. It uses statistical analysis to figure out what is the most probable next word, but it has no clue what it's saying. It doesn't even understand what you're asking. It's just a fancy autocomplete. And the example that we did with Bo, Chris, and David is we all learned to speak English at some point in our lives. We use it on a day-to-day basis. And when we were prompted to complete the sentence, we just kind of, frantically look for the next word in our heads that was based on what we've learned so far in the English language. And unless you were Chris, we came up with words that made sense, right? And that's kind of the concept here. Now, why is that important? Because when you are building assistants and when you're prompting assistants, giving it as much context is important. For example, here, I asked it to say, can you craft a presentation about Chicago deep dish pizza? I was in Chicago last week, got to experience deep dish pizza. One of the things I did is I said, hey, I'm going to need you to build me a presentation, but I want you to think about your steps first and then start writing. And so it's giving me a rough outline of the steps that are the steps that are involved. And by doing that, by asking it to think about its steps first, I'm actually giving it context. And that context will help build a stronger sentence moving forward. You can also use that trick. For example, if you want your assistant to have to demonstrate a certain behavior. So for example, here I'm saying you're a medical professional. And by doing that, I'm able to actually give it, give it a different personality that will make it more accurate in terms of medical information. But I could have said you're an HR professional or whatever, right? All right. Now, I do the same thing in my assistant. One of the things that I do is I say, when I prepare the context of my assistant, I say the user's name is Hugo Bernier. He lives in Toronto. Please greet him by his first name, right? And then when I say hello, the assistant comes back and says, hey, hello, Hugo. How can I assist you today? And I'll show you in the code. Well, I don't think I'll get to show you the code today. You'll see in the code that by injecting the user's context into the conversation, I'm able to create a more personalized experience. And in fact, within my team, we use the same concept. We inject the full user's profile, their preferences, their projects, their experiences, where they live, their interests, and we inject all that context into the instructions so that it's able to cater the experience. Now, let's just use an example of a conversation with an assistant. And this is, again, this is going to be the difference between the completion API and the assistant API. Right now, if I say, hey, what's the weather like in Toronto, Ontario? It'll say, the weather is sunny, blah, blah, blah. And then if I say, what's that in Fahrenheit? And I haven't given it the continued context, it's going to say, huh? I don't know what you're talking about, because it's taking every sentence one at a time, and it's responding to every sentence one at a time. Now, what typically you would do with the completion API, and this is what Chris did and Luis, they took all the previous conversations and they've appended them. And this is what it kind of looks like. So if we roll back here and we say the weather is, Toronto sunny, and then I say, here's our conversation so far. What's the weather like? The weather in Toronto is blah, blah, blah. And then what is that in Fahrenheit? It's going to say, okay, I get it. I'll respond to you. And that's what the exchange in messages within Assistance API and completions happen, is that we always have kind of a context of messages, and messages have roles. The first message is usually setting the context, right? I give it the context of who I am, who I want them to be, and things like that. And then I can send a series of messages that are either going to be coming from me as the user, where I'll say, write me a marketing plan for a cool enterprise AI assistant, or it could be coming back from the assistant, where it gives me context or content, that shows why, what the outcome was. All right, so to get to using OpenAI assistants, which is in preview right now, you can go to the URL that's listed here, Azure AI Services OpenAI How to Assistant. And again, I'm sure David is already pasting the link for you. But there's some concepts that we need to understand here, and we're not going to get to go through all of them today. But we have the concept of assistants, threads, messages, and runs. And let's just start with the first one, which is the assistant. And the assistant is basically a concept in the OpenAI Assistant API, where you actually get to define an identity for your assistant, where you get to do things like, let's just zoom in a little bit. You get to do things like what model you want them to use, the name, and the personality that you want, or the instructions. So I'll start with this, and then we'll cut it quickly, so that we'll continue this demo on a future call. But basically, the first thing that I do when I set up an assistant is I tell it what model I want you to use. In the demo that I showed you, I was using GPT-4o. But again, you can change the models based on your requirements, and then you give it a name. But you'll get an assistant ID, which is unique. You get to use that assistant ID when you make all the API calls by using that identity. And that's how it knows how to keep track of all the information. And then you give it instructions. So in this case, I'm saying you're a smart assistant. You reluctantly answer questions with sarcastic responses. And that's why you got the behavior that you saw before. But there's other things that you can do with your assistant. We'll get back to that on a future call. But we have the ability to register functions, which are basically JavaScript or Python functions that get called on the client side when the assistant needs to make that call. You also have, and I'm just going to skip ahead here. You also have the ability to enable code interpreter, where you can say, I'm going to give you some Python code or some code. I want you to actually go read that code and interpret it and run it. And that's really useful if you're doing mathematical equations and things like that. You want it to do some graphs or calculations. You also have the concept of retrieval. Now, that's been changing names over the last little while. But retrieval is the ability to say, I know you've been trained on a large language model from 2023. I have new information that I want you to see. It's my list of documents. It's it's some of my data, whatever it is. So you can actually tell it that you want it to use your documents or your information on top of or instead of the materials that it's already learned. And then finally, you have the ability to actually add some files to use by the assistant. Now, we'll come back to the rest of this on a future call, but because of time, let's just take you to this slide here. So for more information on how to get started with Azure OpenAI Assistants, you can go to the URL here. The super fantastic web part that Chris and Luis built is available on React Azure OpenAI API streams. And then as soon as I fix the issues that I was experiencing this morning with my assistant, I will make sure to post React Azure OpenAI assistance on the URL below. But that's it for me. I'll continue this demo on a future call. But for the moment, back to you, Chris.
Awesome. Great job. Ooh, get out of here, you silly thing. All right. Well, thank you very much to both our presenters. Really good stuff. If you want to see that in more depth, or you want to slow it down or speed it up, either one, that'll be posted to YouTube within 24 hours or so, after Hugo does his editing to make himself sound a lot smarter, right? All right. Yeah. But also, if you've got feedback on this call, calls in general, or really anything related to the community and how we can help, you know, something you're looking for, maybe things you really like that you don't want to see go away, that kind of stuff, please fill that out. We do read those, and it's very, very helpful to us. And in fact, if you're one of the few that fills it out, you've got much more influence than others. So think of it that way. There you go. And then finally, we mentioned this Discord server. Please come check this out. We've got a ton of people in there. So if you like this kind of live chat back and forth we can do here, you can do a lot out there. It's easy to jump on calls over there as well, and then easily get help or access to resources like the blogs and some of the other calls. It's a great spot, a little less formal than some of the others, and it's a great place just to get to know everybody and get involved. All right, and finally, thank you again. Check out the video when it gets posted here, and then join us next week for our next call on August 8th. Well, that's not next week. Next call is August 1st. Right, so that's the M365 Power Platform call. Next Viva Connections SharePoint Framework call is in 2 weeks on August 8th. So be sure to check that out. And thanks a lot, everybody. That's it for us. Wow, 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 wow. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.